All right. So thank you for coming. I'm really happy to have you here. What we're trying to do, what I want to do tonight is just, as I wrote in the email, we have a bunch of stuff to talk about, but I really want to give you a push. Um, I tried to call everybody and I talked to about a third of you because I left messages to the rest, but that's a normal thing. And it's really now time to ramp up the activities. So by a show of hands, and if you're on gallery view, that would be great. How many of you have done something toward this project? Oh, good. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. How many of you have not done anything? And why not? Because I think that your answer may be really helpful to others. Sheila, would you share?
It's just been so crazy. And I have a son who lives in Israel. So a
Oh,
lot of my time is spent with that. Thank goodness where he lives, things are okay. But I shouldn't use that as the excuse. I guess also I would like more clarification of exactly what you want me to do. I do have the list of my past presidents, so I can reach out to them. But before I do, if you could clarify some of that, and I assure you, within the next week to 10 days, I will have information, and the project will get started at my New City Jewish Center, where I'm co-president of
great. Uh,
Sisterhood.
and that's one of the things that we're going to do tonight is
Okay, good,
we're going
good.
to really start to clarify the process. Who else has not done anything that would like to share? Marion?
Well, first of all, I haven't been very well. I
Ah,
had a
I'm
I had
sorry.
a valve replacement a few
Ah,
weeks ago, and I've been in and out of the hospital prior to that.
how are
And
you now? How are you feeling now, Marion?
I'm very tired. I just
Yeah.
want to sleep. And the thing that I have to know is clarification, because I don't know if I can get some of the information, because we started off being Ontario branch, then we were Canadian Seaway, and now we're international. So I don't know how I have to go about getting the information from the various people. Like, do I get three different views? Like, I have to go back to Ontario branch, would be like over 50 years. Like, I don't know if I can get all the information that I need.
Okay,
And
good.
then I've got to find international is New York. They were a different branch, so I have to see, do I connect it all together, all three?
So yes, thank you. Those are great questions, and I hope to be answering those tonight. And if I don't, then you remind me, and if not, then we'll have a conversation privately. I'm not adverse to meeting with you and whomever, and that's for all of you. I'm happy to meet with people individually, regions individually, and with whoever they're getting involved with and helping to do that. I mean, we're not such a big, it's 13 regions coming from 28 branches. And I'm going to talk about that. I have a list that I will send you and we'll go over tonight of what branches make up each of the regions. Anybody else who'd like to share why they haven't felt comfortable moving forward? Stacy.
I'm basically new. I wasn't, I just was assigned this, and I'm with Seaboard, and I was assigned this right at the beginning of the high holidays. So, like the others are saying, I kind of like to have a guideline. I kind of watched the Zoom thing you did the presentation, which was wonderful, but when like I just need some guidelines, outlines, I mean, it can go from A to Z in a minute. So I just need some kind of guidance and some instructions.
Good, good. Anybody else want to identify their questions or? Okay, so
Victoria, Beth has her hand up for long.
oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see that.
Oh,
Please.
okay. Hi. All right. Let me lower my hand. If I can. All right. Now is that better? No, that's worse.
No. Maybe
I-
put your backlight on. Is there a light in the room?
No, no.
Okay.
I'm in the car.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to think how to say this. I wanted to talk to senior type people and get a feeling for the history of the region.
Mhm.
And then I attended a function in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. I was asked to speak as membership VP. And they have a very nice tradition in there, like a very special tradition. It occurred to me maybe my modus operandi should be to make a phone call and speak with each of the 29 affiliates individually and try to get a senior person from each one. But I don't know whether that's part of our umbrella. If we want to hear about not only the history of, from branch to region, but also like individual little idiosyncrasies and
Um,
so that's what
let-
I also need clarification. Nancy,
Right.
on.
So let me just respond to that because that's a question that's come up and I'm sorry if it hasn't been made clear. We're not interested. No, we're always interested in our affiliates and our sisterhoods, but this project is not going to focus on the history of the sisterhoods within our regions.
Right.
Because it's too wide. It's too difficult too big a task to do. What we're looking to do, the mission of this is to keep the history of our regions and branches alive in order to learn from that history. That's the mission. That's why we're doing this, is just because there's lots of stuff that's happened within our regions and the branches that have made up the regions. And we want to learn from that, from their history and what they've done to help us move forward to the future. That's the mission. And I'll give you my notes on this. So if you don't want to write down, you can. Our goal is to publish a history of each of the regions and the branches that make them up, period. We're not going to get involved in sisterhoods. I think that's a wonderful project. If you want to take that and go with it in your particular region for your region information, but it does not have to be part of this. Let me take an example where it might be part of it. Miriam's Sisterhood in New Jersey was one of the very, very first sisterhoods in Women's League, if not the first. I'm not sure. And so it might be helpful if they had a history to get some information from Miriam's Sisterhood, because that really is the start of the New Jersey region, which started with, I don't know what it was called initially, but it was Northern New Jersey branch, and then it became Garden State as far as from the history that I have. But basically, we're not going to do sisterhoods. I think that's too much to ask. I have Sherry, you had a question.
Not really a question, just a comment. When you first started talking about this project a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, one of the things I did, and I still have the materials, I did not get them over to Barbara. I keep a lot of the paperwork from the branch and from the region. I was part of Eastern Long Island branch before we became BQLI. And so what I did is I went through all my paperwork and I pulled out events that we had, flyers, any kind of information about what we did and who we were. And I have all of that I want to use or to hand over or give in. It might be a beginning to talk to maybe the former branch presidents and ask them what materials they still have. What did they keep? Or what do they have online saved that they can share? Because that at least gives a beginning of an insight into the history.
So when I first met with you and when we first envisioned this project, I said that your histories can be anywhere from 1 or 2 pages to 100 pages. Doesn't matter. Whatever works for you. And again, the mission is to keep the history of the regions and its branches alive, because we want to be able to learn from that and to know where we came from. So the materials that you have will be help to inform the history. And then whatever materials you have, if there's something that strikes you, like a program from 1950 that really gives a sense as to who you were, or a picture that has the ladies in the hats and the gloves, great. You can use that. But I would focus more on getting the information. And if you can get it from those materials, great. You may be able to get it more from people. And what I want to do now is I'm going to share my screen. And of course, hold on a second. Let me open up the Women's League website. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. I want to show you what's available to you on the website. Let me go back to the Zoom and share screen. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to share this. So this is the Women's League website. Everybody see that? This is the home page. And you see up here is the archives button. That's your key to a lot of information. So I'm going to click that archives button. You do not need to sign in, because one of the philosophy behind that archives button was that anybody, any public person could look at our history. All right. You see, we have regions and branches here, right? And I'm going to click on that.
Okay, all right.
Are you seeing? Everybody's seeing? It's clicking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. There are a couple of resources that I want to make you aware of. I think many of you are aware of Beauty, Brains, and Brawn. And this is scanned. I scanned this and put it on. It was done in 2004 for the convention for celebrating the 350th anniversary of Jews in America. Birthday, anniversary, whatever. And each of the regions, each of the branches and you see the table of contents. It was not what was happening Women's League wise. It was the history of the Jews in that area.
Wow. Okay, cool.
Okay. So that may be a good start for some of you. Now, okay, did it go back to the region branches homepage?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Because I never know. Here we have region branch presidents. And here are the branch and region presidents. First, we go with the branches so that you have an opportunity to have all your of those that we know of. And if there are any errors on here, please let me know and I'll have them corrected. So each of the branches, okay? Got it? So that's who you're gonna contact, because those who are still living. There are many who unfortunately have passed. Okay. And if I don't think you need it, but it's also here in an Excel sheet that you can download. And then if you know how to manipulate an Excel sheet, you can do that. I'm not going to show you that now. And here, this region branch histories, this is what we're going to populate with your histories. Okay. So that's available. There are other things here that may be valuable to you. There's a Women's League timeline, and I would look at the spreadsheet timeline, which gives you what was happening in the world, what was happening with Women's League. You may be able to get the date that the branch was started. There are when you're enhancing your history, there are creative handcrafts. The branches and regions used to do creative handicrafts projects for the conventions and stuff. For instance, 60th anniversary tapestry.
Yeah. I
Okay,
remember.
and you can see you can see this tapestry, which hopefully we will hang sometime in the Women's League office because we still have it. And there it shows which branch did what. So you
Wow.
may, use that. This is a bit there are better things that there are other things that are really have just your region or your branch. It's most here's a Torah Fun Pin project.
Mhm.
Which hopefully will load for me. Come on, you can do it.
And
There
the
you go.
Hoopa project?
There's a chuppah project. This is 1998, but you see what I've done here is this is the Torah Fin. The Canadian Seaway did two. They did Shalva and they did Naaseh. And then let's see, we had Central Branch. Central was part now of Central Great Lakes. We had Central New Jersey, which is now part of Garden State, so on and so forth. So you may want to use some of these pictures in your history, and you can look further at that. Any comments, questions? Just while I'm on the Women's League.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, I have a question.
go ahead.
Okay, the thing is that our region, which used to be Pacific Northwest region, joined with Northern California and became North by Northwest region. Now, there are four branches or synagogues that have opted out since we joined, and my synagogue happens to be one of them. So I am an independent member. The thing is that if you want, how far back do you want to go? Like if you want to go back as far as when it was just Pacific Northwest region, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm prepared to do it. I've got presidents back to 1936. But the thing that I need to know is what exactly is it that you want?
Okay. And I'm going to answer that because as we go along. Thank you. Sheila. That's everybody's asking that question. Exactly what do we do? As far as going back, they were part of what is now your region. Okay. And it's important that you go back. If they're no longer a part of Women's League, that's okay too. They still had part in making who you are today. Okay, so I'm going to send this to you. You've seen this before. This is the realignment from 2017 when we made the regions. Everybody can see the map? Okay, good. So what I did is I enhanced this second sheet, and I identified exactly what branches make up each of the regions. Now, BQLI is made up of 4 different branches. Some of those Brooklyn branch, merged with, I believe it was, I don't know who, Queens, and I don't know, they're Eastern Long Island. No.
Probably South Shore.
Oh, okay. It was South. I'm not great with
It probably was South Shore is my
South
guess.
Shore, and because there were 28 branches, and we merged some of them, and they became 25 branches, and then those 25 branches became the 13 regions. So I thought it would be helpful so you would know where to go. International Northeast was Canadian Seaway, Eastern Canada, New York State, and Ontario branch, and then there was a Montreal women's group for a while.
That's right.
So you've got 5 entities to cover.
I know.
And sometimes, Marion, it could be just 2 lines on each one. It depends on how much you can get, how much information you can
I
get.
have to contact these people. at the
So,
Department of Montreal Women.
so I would take use this, and I will send this all to you. Use this, and then go to the region branch presidents list that I showed you in the archives section.
Mhm.
And do you know you can get phone numbers and stuff from people who still belong to Women's League? It's available to everybody. You know how to do that? Let
No.
me show you. I'm going to go back, share the screen, share my screen again. Here's the Women's League website. And now I have to sign in. So I'm going to sign in. Everybody can see that, right?
Mhm.
And you see here, this is new. Member directory. Okay. And so I'm going to search for Schneider. Okay. And there I am.
Okay.
So you will have, for as many people who have given us the phone numbers and emails, we don't have them for everybody. And it's only for current members.
Mhm.
If you want to go back, I can get to the whole list
Hmm.
with more information. And if I possibly can find it, I will find it for you. Just go to me, let me know. Okay.
Okay.
So those are some of the resources. All right,
Mhm.
let's go. Let me stop my share and let's talk about the questions you have. So, the goal is to publish a history. Spring 2024 is our goal, if possible. I know it's not always possible. And I did spring 2024 because I think it's before you start with another administration in your regions. But if you need to continue on, I would suggest that you ask the incoming president, whoever she will be, and say, I would like to continue on with this. I've started it and I want to finish it.
Mhm.
And I hope you will do that. Here's what to include, not stuff. The stuff is only going to enhance it. A picture here and there of a program book, cover here and there. So it's who we were, who we are today. How did we get there? And again, I'll give you my notes. A history of the branches that made up the regions.
Mhm.
And I will send you that map. And how was the transition from branches to region? And I know some regions didn't have any problem at all. Like Pacific Southwest, you were basically the same thing you were. Same thing with Florida. They really didn't have a major transition. BQLI had a transition, right? Mid-Atlantic had a big transition. International Northeast had a big transition. You're talking about putting a lot of branches together to make a region. Pacific Northwest, it was from Northern California and North by Northwest. And that's a big transition, but not as big as, say, some of the others. And so that's, so what was the transition like? And then, believe it or not, it's been 16 years that you've been a region. So I thought it was yesterday, right? I was president, it was yesterday. So we need to then figure out what your history is from the time you were a region.
Mhm.
Talk about the Trinity Essence, talk about some of the programs that you did to help with the transition and to become one group. Not easy.
Mhm.
Creating a team. Who is your team? The team is people who are interested in what you're doing and who are willing to help. You may, for those of you who have a lot of branches, you may want to try and see if you can get one person from each of the branches to write up a history. What does write up a history mean? It means what at the very least, what geographic area you encompass? What was your culture? What was your culture?
Mhm.
Northern California had a different culture than North by Northwest. So what was your culture?
Mhm.
What were some of your each branch's activities? If you can go back to the beginning, wow, that's fabulous. If you can't, then you can't. But at least let's get something down. You know, these things are not going to be published unless you want to do it as an individual region, but they're not going to be published hard copy. They're going to be on the computer.
Mhm.
And so it's real easy to enhance them or to correct them if we have mistakes. And your team is going to be women who have memories.
Mhm.
It's going to be women who are interested in the past. And as I said, see if you can assign it by area if you want. I wouldn't ask them to be on your committee, maybe. I would just say, hey, we'd like to pump you for some information.
Mhm.
Or we'd like you to help us get information. People seem to be scared, and you can do this or not do this, but people seem to be a little bit frightened by being on a committee. Oh, I don't have time to be on a committee, right?
Mhm.
But if you will call Susie Q, who was branch president of Eastern Long Island in the 1960s, because you know Susie Q, because you're also from Eastern Long Island, maybe. And just get her talking about her memories, get her talking about what the branch was. And when you do that, if it's by phone or by Zoom, record it with their permission, certainly.
Mhm.
Because I would rather you pay more attention to what they're saying than to writing it down. So record it. If you want information on how to do a historic interview on the and let me share my I want to give you as many resources as you possible. So I'm going to share my screen again. Okay. There we go. So I'm back on the Women's League website. You don't even have to sign in. Let me go back to the home page. Well, I'm not going to donate right this minute. I'm a little busy. So if you go to you see this magnifying glass right here?
Where I'm looking
See
on,
my cursor?
it's hard on a phone looking at this.
Oh, okay. All right. There's a little magnifying glass on the pink line where the archives button is, all the way to the right. If you click on that, and if you type in the search box,
Oh, okay, I see it. I see.
How to Live Forever, which is the name of the series that I did, the Zoom series. Click go. And click on here, How to Live Forever series. There is a where is it? Oh, maybe it's this one. It's in I think it's Creating Your Sisterhood Archives. And you know what? I'll send it to you because
Thank
I
you.
don't want to waste time. It's a
Creating an Oral History.
Mhm.
That was part 8, I think.
part 8. Was it part 8?
Here it is.
Oral,
Part-
thank you. Here you
You're
go.
welcome.
Oh, I love you. Here's Writing and Sharing Your Sisterhood Region Story. It's oral history interviews.
Okay.
And it will give you, this is a lot of stuff, but the thing, here's sample questions.
Perfect.
All right. And this is for a sisterhood, so you just adapt it for a region.
Okay,
Okay.
that's good.
And one of you, and I can't remember who was going to do that, was going to get together with a bunch of past presidents? Who was going to do that? Who was planning to do that? I'm going to stop my share.
North by Northwest.
Okay. Oh, Sandy, you were going to do that. You and Lana were going to do that. Did you do that? Not
I
yet.
have names now.
Huh?
I have names and no one has returned my calls.
Okay. It's Thanksgiving week. What can I tell you?
Give them another week. Give them another week or two.
My
So,
email's down completely.
okay.
Right.
So what I would suggest you do, if you're going to do something face to face, and if you're in a branch or a region, I'm sorry, a region that is close together, or you can always say, hey, can we meet for coffee?
Mm-hmm.
To one of the past region branch presidents or other person that has some history. And you can record right off, doing recording on your phone. There are apps to
Yeah.
record
Mm-hmm.
and record that. You won't be sorry. I was on the phone with somebody the other day, and I wanted to find out about Billy Rubinoff. I don't know how many of you remember Billy. Okay, so she was a very big force in Women's League for many years. She was our premier parliamentarian, very involved in Torah Fund, so on and so forth. And so I wanted to hear stories about Billy. And unfortunately, I got lots of stories, but I didn't record the conversation. I was so sorry, because I would have written it up. So record. You can always erase the recording. It's no big deal. If you want to have it transcribed, for instance, I did an oral history interview with Bernice Balter, which was she was a long-term employee of Women's League and executive director for many years. I think she worked for Women's League for 30 years. She she retired in 2007. 2007 or 2008, I can't remember which, but I did an oral history interview with her, and I had it transcribed. And in fact, the interview, it's very interesting. The interview is on the archives section of the website under interviews. I think it's articles, interviews, and something. And it's on there. Also on the archive section of the web page is under publications. I will soon be having put up, as soon as they have staff time to do that. I have scanned our 3 history documents, books that Women's League put out. The first was They Dared to Dream, which was the first 50 years. Then there was The Sixth Decade, was the second book. And then the third book was 75 Years of Vision of Volunteerism. They're all scanned and ready to be put up as soon as I can get the staff. I can get the rabbi to get the staff to have some time to do it. So
Lori,
those
I
are
wanted to say that the last one that you mentioned, I have a copy of that. And I chair the Rosh Chodesh group in my sisterhood. And I actually, last year, our theme was lesser known Jewish female heroines. And I used that book to do one of our programs last year.
fabulous.
It's a great resource, and it was really interesting.
It is, and I don't know if I have it here. I don't have it here. But it's great, and you'll have it. You'll have it. If you don't have it on your own, in your own library, it'll be up there, and I'll get that posted. I hope. Post publication. There's some other, if you have lots of time, there's other fascinating stuff. Women's League had a book, Jewish Home Beautiful, which was the bride's gift for years and years and years. I think it had 7 printings, and that I've also scanned. And there was another one that I scanned too.
The whole book?
The whole book. Yeah, I scanned the whole book because I felt it was something that people would enjoy reading. Okay, so
there was a baby book too.
I didn't scan that. We're still selling that.
Yeah, but I have that.
Yeah, my kids have the original one.
Welcome to the World, I think it was called.
Welcome to the World is the new one.
And
is
there was the
new
one that was like their gold cover.
Yeah, that
This
was by Sadie Rose Weilerstein.
This one was purple, the one I have.
Yeah.
Corey,
Yeah.
Corey, you've been so helpful, scientific actually, in terms of showing us, you know, how branches became regions, what's incorporated, the list of the past presidents, very helpful, step by step. You know, if we really want to be type A, we can do it chronologically and start with the with the oldest past president. But now let's talk about length. I know it could be anywhere from last time it was between 2 and 100. Today you said between 1 and 100. Rein us in. Okay. Can we all agree that it'll be between 10 and 20, 15 and 25? I mean, give us some parameters.
So Beth, I can't, and I'll tell you why. Because I don't want a region that is not able to collect the materials to feel frustrated and not do anything because they don't have enough for 25. There are going to be some regions, BQLI, International Northeast. I have stuff that Lois Silverman did that I will send you.
Yeah, well, that's what I wanted to know. I have to get a hold of Lois Silverman, don't I?
Lois is now living in Pennsylvania, but I'll send you the stuff that she sent me.
That's what.
Okay.
That's
I
what
also have, and I haven't really looked at it, but I also have a history that was done and a script that was done by Connecticut Valley Branch, which cataloged the history or told of the history. I haven't looked at it from 1931 to 2004. Wow. So I'm going to, so you can, if you have stuff like that, it's going to be a lot of pages. If you don't, then whatever you can do, Beth. I mean, I don't mean to not, I think this group is great, but I don't want to frustrate you, and I want you to have fun with it because I think it really is fun. But do whatever you can, Beth. That doesn't answer your question. Does it answer your question?
Yeah, well, in halfway. So you don't want to put a basement. So you're saying 1 or 2 pages, but how about a ceiling?
Because it's computerized, there's no ceiling, and I would say that if you go to 100 pages, I think you've done fine. You can, and a lot of those 100 pages, if you're going to go to 100 pages, it will probably be pictures and programs. Some of the creative handcrafts can be part of that. I mean, that makes it interesting. You don't want to be boring, right? And we'll talk at.
But you also don't want to. But you also don't want to repeat something that's elsewhere on the website.
I don't care. I don't care. If you want to repeat it. And I'll tell you why. Because people don't look at all over the website. They're going to look where it's interesting of them. I'm not convinced that the search button on the website is the most user-friendly. Hetty, I'm sorry. You're muted. Hetty, you're muted. Where are you? You just moved. There you are. You're still muted, Hetty. There you go.
Yes, hi.
So did you want to say something?
No. I was saying good night to my little people listening
to
you.
Sorry. Okay. I thought you were raising your hand.
All right. Probably. Yeah. Thank you.
So here's the process. And I'll send you this so you don't just listen. First is to find the past histories. It's the first thing, because why would you want to reinvent the wheel all over again? Now, where do you find those past histories? You can find them, you know, when you're contacting the region, the branch past presidents, you can ask them. Also, you discharge speeches from presidents of the branch or region. If you can get them from some of the past branch and region presidents, that when you were, many of you were branch or region presidents, and when you leave office, what do? You give a summary of what you did in office, of what your goals were, and then did you reach them? So you may be able to find some past histories that way to be able to really give you some meat. Some regions have done, some branches have done scripts. Like I mentioned, Connecticut Valley did a script. No, it wasn't Connecticut Valley. It was International Northeast did a script to celebrate an anniversary. Honoree events have a lot of history in them. And milestone events, celebrating the 20th birthday of Canadian Seaway region or Eastern Canada. Those will have, you may be able to find them from that. Those of you who have sent in your archives for us to place in JTS, if there's something that you need and you know it's there because somebody has said, oh, well, I gave it to I gave it for the archives at JTS, let me know and I will go over and I'll see if I can find it for you. Okay. Yes, question. No? Okay.
Yes, a question.
Sure.
Will you please put these little points? These are very important. Will you put email to us?
I will. I'm going to do that. I'm going from my notes. Beth.
Okay.
So I'm going to send you my notes. Phone calls to gather the information, as I said before, record. You will be happy. If you want to have it transcribed, and it does cost a little bit of money, but it's not too bad. I've had, for instance, the interview with Bernice Balter, which is on the archives section, as I said before, I had transcribed. And there's a company called Rev, R-E-V as in Victor, rev.com. There are other companies. I just happen to have that one. It was recommended to me, and they're very user-friendly. They're going to get the Hebrew words wrong, but it's really easy to edit. And it's lovely for a reminiscing lunch or coffee, as I said before. You can get magnificent information. And when you write it, and I'm going to talk about process in a minute, when you write it, you want to make sure that you put stories in. It's not a historical treatise. We're more interested in a feel. I'm interested in a feel. We want some of the historical data. How many sisterhoods, where they were, that kind of stuff. If you have when they joined, if you can do it, fine. If you can't, that's okay too. But stories. I remember I was a consultant in Winnipeg. And this is a story, right? Randy knows my story. So we were in a hotel and there was a fire alarm at 1 o'clock in the morning, Randy, I think. 1 o'clock in the morning. And we were told to evacuate. Now, what do you take, right? It's a fire. You take your purse, right? So I put my robe on and I put my Torah Fund pin on because that's very important. And to this day, people just giggle about that. It's a story. It's a story. And there are many stories and they make for interesting reading. So you want to add the story. So here's the process. As I started to say, you find the past histories, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You gather as much information as you can, and a lot of that information are going to be stories. Some people will remember during their presidency, XYZ happened. look at and please look at the spreadsheet, the timeline spreadsheet that Women's League has on the archive section, and I'll show it to you if we have some time. And that'll give you, it's a really nice way, so it might trigger some memory as well. When you, after you've really seen what we have for past histories and gathered a lot of the information, you can then create a table of contents. My suggestion would be that you find a partner. Don't call her co-chair. Don't say she needs to be on the committee, unless you want to. But if you say to her, hey, Sal, no, I'll keep with Susie Q. Susie Q, I'm working on this. I'm working on this project, and I've got this information. Help me figure out the order. How do you think we should put it? Should we do it chronologically? Should we do it by administration? Should we do it by, I don't know. What do you think? Let's talk about it. And she becomes your co-chair, right? But you, without a name, without a title, just somebody that you can bounce ideas off of, because it's really hard to do it when you're doing it on your own. So you want to create some kind of a table of contents. Here's the information I have. What order am I going to put it in? Okay. Then you're going to write a draft, or you're going to get somebody to help you write to write the draft with you. If you have a lot of branches that make up your region, maybe you can get a person to write the history of each branch, and then you're going to need one to write the history of the region, because as I said, you've been a region for 16 years. I spoke with someone, and I apologize, I can't remember who I spoke with, who had a wonderful idea about editing. If you can get an editing team, there are three areas that you want to have somebody look at. One is writing style. And not in the order, in this order, whatever order. You want to look at somebody who will edit by writing style, somebody who will look at the grammar and spelling, and someone who will make sure the information is as correct as possible. Okay. Then once you've got the draft written, and you can edit later or now, whatever, but I would edit it probably at this point. Then you can identify, label, and add pictures and items of interest. It could be, say, for Northern New Jersey, for Garden State, it could be those really cute bee t-shirts, a picture of your bee t-shirts. Or you could do, if people have a lot of t-shirts, that makes it really interesting. Oh, for this convention, this was our theme, and this was our t-shirt, and isn't that fun? And I'll help you if I can to find pictures. We have them we have lots of pictures at the office, but not a whole bunch.
The banners that we have, those are things that would be.
Yeah.
Each of us have banners when we go to convention.
Sure. If there's, I wouldn't do the printed banners, I mean, because that's not so interesting, but the ones that you've really advanced, yeah.
The ones we've made.
Yeah, yeah. And also when, I remember that some of the branch presidents, region presidents, I can't remember if they were branches or regions at this point. I think they were branches. They did costumes, when they came up and introduced themselves at convention. A picture of your branch president in our costume. That's fun. Let's have fun with it. It's our history. Let's really enjoy it. So once you've got that, then you want to have somebody work on the layout with you. And I would find a computer techie to do that. You've got them, and you've all got them in your regions. It'll be a lot of fun. So where do I put I would like you to do, instead of I would like you to do layout, where do you think I ought to put this picture, and can you help me do it? Let's not scare anybody. And then one of the suggestions that somebody made, and this is up to you, is to send to the sisterhoods. If you want to send the history for just reading a little bit for their reaction, that's fine. If you want to send it to a group of past presidents, that's fine. Whatever's going to be comfortable for you. But before you submit it, do you want to have it read by some of those people for suggestions? Up to you. And then it will be sent to Women's League for a final edit, a final review. And Bernice Balter has offered to read all of the histories. She's the one who has, she's in her early 90s, I think now, but sharper than all of us put together on this screen.
Wow.
She's really great. And again, you would love her. I think you would enjoy her interview. She said she would read them, and she would do that for accuracy. That's pretty much the process. So tell me what questions you still have that I haven't answered from the beginning. Is this concrete enough for you?
Yes. Yes,
This
very
was
much.
super helpful, Corey, not only because of all the new information to me, some of it I remember you saying, some of it is brand new and very methodical, but not only because of that, but also because we've been percolating, churning this in our minds for a few months. And this, do you know what I'm saying? We're a little more both knowledgeable and also befuddled than we were the first time we met. So this really helped to clarify. So
Super.
I sure appreciate that. I have
Yeah,
a cute story
definitely.
about Bernice Balter. I remember her well, executive director in Philadelphia. The convention was in Philadelphia and it was running late and the mummers were going to perform.
Yes.
And it just kept running late and late and late. And finally the mummer said, "We're working guys. We have day jobs."
I
We
remember that.
Yes,
I remember I was close enough to where they were all lined up
I was
where,
there.
where she was. I was close
there.
enough to hear her say to somebody, because they were, installing women. And I remember her saying, this is these women's, like, I don't know the word she used, but this is their goal, their dream. You can't step on this ceremony. You can't hurry along this ceremony. And she let the mummers go.
No, they did perform, but they didn't perform
They
very
did.
long.
No,
Not
I
as
thought
much.
I
I
don't
was
think they
there.
Wasn't it
I was
abbreviated? Yeah.
It was on
They did
2009.
perform.
Yeah,
What about the
you know what, I don't
elevator?
remember. I do remember the convention in Philadelphia where there was a flood and
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, I think
Gloria.
it was the same. I think it was
Gloria.
the same convention.
On my head
what I'm
table.
saying is,
You
what I'm
sang
saying is-
Singing in the Rain, Corey.
go ahead, Beth, I'm sorry.
she stuck up for her women,
Oh,
she
yeah.
did.
When I became Women's League president, Bernice was the executive director, and she made it very clear to me as I was preparing for the presidency. She says, "Corey, I want you to know that my job is to make you look good."
Yeah. She's like
I
your
don't
chief
know.
of staff.
She did a great job, Court. She did her
Yeah.
job.
Oh, no, come on.
She was very special. She
Mhm.
is very special. And
She is
whenever
very
whenever
special,
I
yeah.
ask her anything, sure, not a problem. So
Mhm.
Even to this day, she
all right,
does.
I'm
If you
going to
have
share,
questions.
I want you to see the timeline because it may help to trigger
Yeah.
stuff for
Yeah.
you.
That would
And
be good.
while I'm doing that, I want you to write 3 things that you can commit to doing in the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
Okay. While I share my screen
Live, breathe, and heat.
on this project. Sorry, I forgot that
Sorry, you
phrase.
That's okay. That's okay. It's I
All
gotta put
right,
humor
let
in
me
it.
see where I am here. Oh, I think that's it. I'm not sure. Okay. Okay, here we go. We're at the Women's League website. Right while I get up what I want to share with you. I'm going to the archives section. Okay, so take a look here. There's a Women's League timeline that's very pretty, but it's very useless as far as I'm concerned. I'll show it to you.
Oh, lovely.
It's really lovely and it moves on its own, but it's until you get to today, you could not be around anymore. So what and I think I'm hoping to take it down. This is the one that I think is really fascinating. This is 1918. The year world
Mhm.
events and Women's League events.
Mhm.
Okay, and I think you'll find it fascinating. It has every convention and its theme and the chair, if we know who it is. So in 1919, Russian pogroms killed thousands, and then Jewish in Women's League, Jewish student house established after the war. That's the First World War.
Mhm.
So on and so forth. Fanny Hoffman assumes the presidency because Matilda Schechter became ill. And Women's League branch is established in 1921.
Mhm.
We had 230 sisterhoods with a membership of 20,000.
Wow.
The same year that J. Edgar Hoover appointed FBI director, we lost Matilda Schechter.
Mm.
And so on and so forth. Its New Jersey branch was established in 1929.
Okay.
Yes. So
Cool,
that
that's
was New
cool.
Jersey branch first.
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't think we have all the branches on here, but I think it's I'm a geek.
It
when
is, it's
comes to this stuff.
fascinating.
Per
It
capita
is.
raised to 20 cents.
Where were you? What year?
Scroll up. There it is. Per capita raised to 20 cents.
Okay, there you go. I want if you guys enjoy historical novels, I just
Mhm.
finished a wonderful novel called The Engineer's Wife. It's
About that one.
written about the building of the Brooklyn Bridge.
Ooh.
It's right after the Civil War. It's fascinating. Some of it is fiction, a lot of it is based on fact.
Hmm.
Who's it by?
Huh?
Who's it by? Who wrote it?
I knew you'd ask that, right? Remind me, I'll get my Kindle. It's not too far from me. I read from a Kindle, so who remembers, right? It's good that I even remember the name. So if you keep going, you'll see fascinating. And there's a new one that's coming up. I hope you're not getting sick or dizzy.
Yeah, I see getting dizzy.
So I'm waiting for Debbie Goldich to, and Debbie's been a little bit busy. She's trying to sell her house and in New Jersey and whatever else. But I did put in, for instance, for her, the first virtual convention, Sisters Journeying Together, chaired Deborah Kainer Goldich. And we started the daily Psalm readings, and that was in 220. And so we'll fit this in. And I filled this, what?
This is awesome. I mean, it really gives you a good idea of what was going on, because I was thinking I have a lot of old stuff. You know, I'm very fortunate that I have things from the 50s and 60s. And I said, well, I would love to know what was happening in the world back then.
Well, now you have it. A little bit of it. A little bit of it.
But a little, but a little's better than nothing.
Here's the 2019, the Notre Dame Cathedral fire.
Right.
And President Trump's first impeachment. Here's the worldwide COVID-19 pandemic. I mean, these are important things. It doesn't have a lot of it.
Now, who's the steward of this? Who enters this information?
This was put together for maybe the 100th, but I don't know. It wasn't. It was the bulk of it was put together by Rhonda Kahn, who was our communications director for many years, and Lisa Kogan, who was our education director.
Right, I remember Lisa.
And they did it, and I can't remember for what. And then I've continued it. When I became archives chair, I continued it. And it wasn't for the 100th, because I know that I had Margie and Carol Simon add stuff. So maybe it would, I don't remember. I can't tell you. I don't remember.
But you're the one that's continuing it.
As archives chair, I am. I am. And as soon as I get Debbie's stuff, we'll put the new one up, because I've already added 2023 and added the October 7th attack by Hamas, and the November 14th Israel march.
Mhm.
I mean, these are really the major and the salient.
Very major, very major. Yep.
Mhm.
What about the war in Ukraine and
Right
how it?
there.
Here, Russia invades Ukraine 2022. And that's all I,
2024?
but this is for Debbie to do. I mean, I only did it because I didn't want to lose some stuff and I want to make sure we put
Right.
in March and we put in the
Mhm.
attack, the Hamas attack. So
Yeah.
that's, I'm going to stop the share now. Do I want to stop the share now? Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Questions? What are the 3 things you're going to do in the next 2 weeks?
Start doing it.
Make a list of presidents,
Okay.
contact as many as we can.
Read the note-
and
notes
look
you're
at
sending.
some
Yeah, I
more
will send them out tomorrow.
Thank you.
Set up a
Lori, am I
guideline.
on your list? I was not notified by you.
We're
I was notified by Sandra
no,
Eliezer.
Sheila, you're not.
So could you put me on your list, please?
Of
I
course.
really need to have the things sent to me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm
And I
happy to do that.
I have a new email,
Okay, go ahead.
SHEILAROMALIS @
What's that spell?
So
I-
Sheila,
Yeah.
you're gonna be working with Lana and
and Sandra,
Okay.
Sandy. Yeah.
Or Corey, you can add my name also. I
Okay.
think that Barbara has Helene Fruchter, but
Mhm.
she couldn't come tonight and Barbara wasn't available, so I said I would do it.
Okay. So
But I
you're,
said I would work on the,
yeah, I'm gonna add, look, I could do 50 people. It doesn't matter to me.
Mhm.
You're welcome to invite anybody that's getting involved in your history to come. Pam, did you have a question? No. Okay. Agnes.
Yeah, because I've already gone through a lot of archive material that we have. And a lot of our events and activities are really very much hand in hand with what International Women's League is doing. So I don't know, like I have a lot of like newspaper articles of us going there, or this event is happening and the head, so it's like, I don't know how to separate the two.
So,
And
Agnes,
yeah.
you are a very unique branch region because you were the only one that had an office other than
Yeah, yeah.
You also, just like Women's League, had one of the institutions of higher learning in your backyard.
Exactly.
So talk about that.
Yeah, I
Talk
was
about,
planning
because
on
you were
going there,
very,
yeah.
very hooked up to it.
Exactly. No, that was a big part of the University of Judaism, because when they were started,
I'm
a
not.
lot of, yes, that was part of it. I agree.
The questions are, who were we?
Mm-hmm.
Who are we? Who are we today? How did we get there?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, without giving you specifics, and we can do that. If you want to get more specific questions, then send them to me. I'll send them out.
Okay.
The history of the branches that made up your region, and for you, Agnes, it's really not.
Yeah.
But you expanded.
Yes.
You expanded when more Jews came to the Southwest.
Exactly.
You
But it started
expanded. You ended
from
with,
a very small group. Exactly.
Talk about that. And you can go to those histories I showed you.
Yes, I did that already. Yeah.
But I mean, for everybody else, you can go to those histories that were
Mhm.
written
Mhm.
of the Jews in your area. That may help. How was,
Corey, I
Yeah.
just thought of something else that we didn't mention.
please?
If people have copies of minutes from
Mhm.
meetings, from
Yeah,
branch
that's
meetings,
great.
from region meetings, there's so much information in those.
Mhm. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Super. Especially if you have your region conference or branch conference.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, meeting minutes. I'm going to put that in. Thank you,
Mhm.
Sherry, very much.
Mhm.
So the history, the transition, and then your history as a region for the last 16 years.
Mhm.
And it can be a paragraph. it can be 17 pages. Again, Beth, I can't tell you.
Just go with the flow.
You got to, but
Yeah, go
do
with-
something, because
Mhm.
the name of the series that I did, as you saw and you giggled, was How to Live Forever. It's absolutely true. If if you don't have a history that you can touch and you can feel and you can read, you're dead. Dead
Right.
forever. As long as those histories are available, you continue to live, and you continue to be able to instruct those who come after you. And I say this not only just as regions and branches, I say this as individuals.
Right.
And you don't want to get me on that, right? Personal driving with your own histories. Unless you want to. But I want you to also know that I'm going to be, it'll be some duplication for you, but I'm meeting with next week on Zoom. I'm meeting with JTS Library, who has our archives, the Women's League archives, and they're willing to do a short video. They say 3 to 5 minutes. I'm going to try and get it 5 to 7 minutes on the Women's League archives. And show some of the archives and stuff like that. And I'm planning to do a Zoom, once that's done, I'm planning to do a Zoom session for anybody who wants on the archives and the archives button on the website, just like what I did for you tonight, to show you what's on there, some of the stuff, because it's fascinating to me. Archives geek, it's fascinating. And I think you'll enjoy, it's enjoyable. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. We have some context pieces. There's a piece on publications. If you look under the publications section, Lisa Kogan has written a fabulous context piece. You know, Women's League really started out as a publisher. That was their main goal, was to assimilate and educate the women, the immigrants. And they did that through publishing books. The 3 Pillars, that was it. There were 2 books, The 3 Pillars and The Jewish Home Beautiful, that Women's League published, that were real standards. The 3 Pillars is really fun. One of them has table settings and recipes. I mean, it's really fascinating. And as we get further along with this project, we will talk, we'll spend some time talking about how to use what you've done for programmatics and stuff.
Right.
Because there's lots of stuff that you can do, and Pam, you mentioned one of them, which is fabulous. Questions? Everybody's got something they're going to do the next 3 things for the next 2 weeks, and when you get off the phone before you go to bed, or have your dinner or whatever, wherever you are, what are you going to do in 4 weeks? What will have you accomplished? And in 6 weeks, what will you have accomplished? If you write down specifically what it is your goals are for that time, you'll be much more certain to do it than if you don't write it down.
Exactly.
And I'm thinking of meeting sometime in January.
That'd be good. That'd be great. That'd be good.
Okay.
They'll give us a couple months and then they'll be good.
Yeah. Hetty.
For Central New Jersey, because that's where we're having trouble getting a lot of the history from them, or whatever they had. Do you know if Lila Nass is still around?
Lila's in Florida.
Okay, I don't care where.
Okay.
I just need
Look up, Hetty, look her up on the list, on the Women's League list.
Okay.
And if you can't find her on that list, I'll see if I can find her on the hidden list, the full list.
Okay. And one more question, or just, first of all, thank you for doing this, because I love the history, and Women's League has so much history and how we got here today. But my question is, or comment is, the Chuppah project seemed to get 28 branches together. Is there any way, was there anything, any pictures that were done by the Concord or whatever with all the chuppahs, and maybe each of our regions now can put together a collage of all the
Okay,
chuppahs that were done.
so I'm sharing my screen again. You see this creative handcrafts? This is,
Yeah,
click on the archives button. This is the main page. This is on the archives department. It gives you a little thing. But let's see. I
because it brings us
I
all
put
together.
on, here's the Chuppah project, 1996. There you go. There you go. So here's Central New Jersey, the fabric, the technique, the Hebrew, the theme, and the artist.
Perfect,
Okay,
perfect.
and that's for each of the branches.
And that's 28 of us?
I don't know. I don't
Okay,
know.
whatever. Okay.
I
Okay.
don't know. You'll have to count. But when I was packing up the archives to send to JTS, whatever I found that I've scanned a lot. In fact, I just had to buy a new printer scanner because my other one. And so the creative handcrafts are really nice pictures that you can put in. And
Okay.
I have the original, not the pictures themselves, but I have the original scans. So if you don't get a good scan of what's on the website, come to me and say, I want this, this, and this, and I'll do what I can to get it for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, everybody anxious and excited and ready to go? Yeah, while you're waiting for that turkey to cook?
Someone else is
Nervous and
cooking it.
scary. You know, I was nervous and scary. You know, I was born, my mother was American. I was born on the American Thanksgiving.
Oh,
So
nice.
it's around
You're
this
the
year.
gobbler.
My birthday's on Friday.
Oh, happy birthday, Miriam.
Happy birthday.
So if you want to hear something really crazy, my oldest grandchild was born on Thanksgiving,
Oh,
wait, 30 years ago.
wow. That was just yesterday.
Oh my gosh.
I'm only 16. I cannot imagine how my grandchild.
Benjamin Buttons, you're aging backwards.
I feel 16, so it's okay.
Well, my daughter just turned 27, so what can I say?
I think it's wonderful.
It is. It's awesome. Yeah.
Sheila, you need to connect with Lana.
Okay.
Sheila Ramalis.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
Sheila,
know.
my new email.
When I send out the material from tonight and the recording stuff, why does it? Oh, it's still recording. Okay. I will include, it'll go to all of you. I'm not going to do a blind copy so that you'll have everybody's email address.
Okay, cool. That'd be great. That'd be nice.
Please, please, if you have questions, if you want help, if you're stymied, or if you're excited about what an interview you've had, call me, text me, email me, but I like calls better. And I love Zoom calls the most. So, but keep in touch and know that Renee Glazer was not able to be on tonight. And I have told you before that Renee is a fabulous writer. She will help you. And you can call her individually.
She was
I also volunteer to help anybody with their tweaking, with their writing.
Super.
Not layout and not anything, aesthetic, but with your writing. I'm I like it and I'm good at it. So
super. Thank you, Beth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. If there is nothing else, I think I've kept you long enough.
this was
Thank
very
you
helpful.
so much. And just keep asking the questions and I'll try to find the answers and we can talk. We'll talk again in January.
Fabulous. All right. Thanks, Corey.
Thank you.
Happy
Appreciate it.
Thanksgiving.
Thank
Have a
you.
good week.
Thanksgiving.
Thank you.